Welcome to the Wake Up and Unleash podcast for women who've experienced success but are now in a frustrating plateau, feeling stuck and alone. For women who are ready to take their business to another level without sacrificing what matters most, our health, our family, and our sanity. So, through real discussions and raw dialogue, we'll share tools and strategies to break that plateau and unleash your power and fire so that you can crush it in business and in life. Here's your host, Karla Sandoval.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Wake Up and Unleash. This is Karla Sandoval, your entrepreneur and leadership coach. So today's podcast, I have a feeling is going to be one of those podcasts that's really going to wake up a lot of the women that are listening to this. And if you're a man, it's going to wake you up too. But I have a feeling it's going to really wake up a lot of the women that, just like me, are way too talented. You're probably like, well, that is very humbling, Karla. That is a very humble statement. Well, listen, let me explain, okay? So a couple of days ago, I was on the phone with my coach, Olga. And we were talking about some stuff. And we were talking about, okay, here, let me tell you what she told me, okay? Because I'm going to throw myself under the bus. So one of the things that is beautiful about me is I have all kinds of ideas, okay? I have all kinds of ideas. And I love to learn. I love to explore new things. I'm the type, my husband, it drives him crazy because he's like, I start one thing and then I'm like, oh, I like to do that too. And then I start another thing and I'm all over the place. Okay. I love, like, I have a lot of books and I can count how many I've actually finished. Okay. Put it this way. Even when I'm doing a workout, I will change it in the middle of the workout. So anyway, this is just how I am. And I am so certain that there are so many women on this listening, probably laughing, going, yeah, me too. Anyhow, so I was talking to Olga and she was sharing with me a couple of things she's known me for a really long time. And so she was sharing with me how she knows that I have a lot of talent and that I have a lot of skills and things like that, as so does she. And she was sharing with me all her talents and all the things that she's good at. But then she said this to me, okay, here's where the punch went. I was like, ow, but it's true. And here's the thing about me. I'm the type of person that I love it when people speak truth to me, even if it hurts. Actually, mostly it will hurt. But here's the deal. When somebody really cares about me and they really bring to my attention the things that I could improve on, now I will assess if I want to improve on that or not. But when I'm like, yeah, that's so true, I need to change that about me, I really value when people do that. So she said to me, but she said it in Spanish. Okay, so I'm going to try to translate it in English. She said, you are so talented and you have a lot of skills. But what you're lacking, okay, is to complete the things you start. She's like, but te falta concretar. Like for you to it says concretar. It's like to concretar. It's kind of like to put things into concrete, like to finish it, to allow it to come into. I don't even know how you translate that in English. I'm not even gonna try. The bottom line is, she was like, you don't finish things, girl. That's not what she said. Okay, in Spanish it sounds way different, but that's really what she was telling me, and I started laughing because it's true. And so she said this to me. And then she said, so if you're listening to this on YouTube, you're going to see it. If not, just listen, just imagine this, okay? She put her right hand up and then she said, now here's the deal. If I have this person right here, now we are all born with some kind of talent. Some have singing talents, some whatever, right? I don't have that talent. I cannot sing. But some of us have, we're born. She said, this person right here doesn't know what his talent is. And she said to me, this is really easy. We discover what is that one thing this person is good at, okay? And then guess what? I say, okay, listen, person, right hand, you are really good at X. And this person's going to go, oh my gosh, yes, I am. And so then guess what's going to happen? This person is only going to focus on X. And they're going to since they're not good at anything else, okay, or they're not aware that they're good at anything else, that's the key, right? So this person is going to go, okay, I'm good at X, go. And all they're going to do is focus on X. And they're so laser focused on X that they will most likely, if they don't quit, succeed in this thing X. Then she said, then she put up her left hand. She goes, and then there's you. So you're like, I'm good at X, Y, and Z, and A, and B. I'm good at A, B, C, X, and Y, and Z, and I'm good at all these things. She's like, so with you, you're so good at all these things. you have talents, and you're aware of all these things that you're good at. Que contigo, that with you, now we got to look at, okay, Karla, yes, you are good at X and Y and Z and A and B. But which of all of these really has your heart? And she asked me. So I answered her, right? And so I'm going to ask you. So don't listen to this. I say this every week. Don't listen to this like, oh, good for you, Karla. Put yourself in the story. Put yourself in the lesson. And so the thing is that when we know, okay, and listen, don't be all humble, okay? If you're good at a lot of things, let's just embrace it. Some of you are really good at cooking and sewing and knitting and cleaning and crafting and reading, and you're artsy, okay? Some of us are not gifted in those areas as much as others. Some people are good singers, etc., right? So like, own your talents, own the things that God has given you. Like, don't be, I think so many times we're so humble, like, oh no, I'm here to tell you, and I'm here to give you permission that you can embrace all your greatness, okay? However, because we're so good at so many things, we don't focus on any of them, or at least we focus a little bit on X, a little bit of Y. Oh, but I also want to do A. Oh, but I'm also really good at B. Oh, but what about C? Okay. This reminds me of the movie, what do you call it? Inside Out, right? Like the brain is like saying all these things. So we have a creative little human up there that's like, whoo, like, oh, shiny object, shiny object, shiny object. This is like a very typical entrepreneur ADHD or whatever. I'm so convinced that we all have that. All entrepreneurs, at least to some degree, have ADD. Why? Because that's our superpower, okay? So don't let anybody tell you otherwise. So that's what happens. Because we have ADD, we focus on A. And then I'm like, oh, but I also want to do B. Oh, but what about X? Oh, but what about C? And she's like, and you're all over the place. That's not what she said. She's like really nice, okay? But I'm just going to tell you how I heard it. And so I was dying laughing when she was talking. She goes, now, here's the deal. While yes, we can be good at all these things, let's focus on what is that thing that really has your heart. So I'm going to invite you, as you're listening to this, what is that one thing that if you can really like if you're like, oh man, Karla, if I could just do this, I could do this all day, and it's effortless. Because here's the deal. For example, okay, I am not a good singer. Now, so therefore I'm not like, I like to sing because I like the song, but I don't like to sing because I like to sing, right? Now, there are people that I know are phenomenal singers, and they could sing all day long if you let them. If you're like, hey, how about you go, and even if we don't pay you, would you sing all? You're like, yes, I want to sing, I want to sing, I want to sing, I want to sing. See, I don't have that desire. Why? Because I'm not good at that. That is not my natural God-given talent. But if somebody has that natural given talent, they want to sing all the time, right? So like we went through a process, and here's what I'm going to tell you, right? If you're listening to this and you're like, I want to know, like, here's the thing. You probably already know what you're good at, but sometimes it's just like for me with her, I kind of knew, but when we went through the process with her, it really made it very clear, like, okay, yes, this is what I was born to do. And so if you're kind of like, okay, I would love to know, I'm going to invite you. Let's have a conversation. You can sign up for one of my free calls, and let's dive in and let's figure out what that is for you. Because here's what I know is that once you discover what that thing is for you, you can, like, how do I say this? Like, you will, number one, you will just be full of energy. You will find energy that you didn't even know you had. Like I could be exhausted. Okay. I could be, and I'm laughing because I'm thinking of a specific situation where I was pregnant and exhausted. But then somebody started talking about business. Actually, it was my friend Jerry. And her and I, we were started talking about business. And I don't know where all this energy like whoo, came into my body. And our husbands were laughing because they're like, que no estaban cansadas. I thought they were tired. But here's the deal. I'm tired. And if you're like, hey, let's go out, I'm like, no, I'm super tired. But if I'm tired and if you're like, hey, I have a business question. I don't know where all this energy enters my body and I feel like vibrant and energetic and just alive, right? Just the way somebody might be tired and then we tell her, hey, listen, there's an auditorium of 10,000 people and they want to hear you sing. I bet that person will get energy from I don't even know where, right? It's like that outside source of energy, like God-given energy. And so I know that you have this. We all do. But so many times, well, number one, we don't give ourselves permission to own our own greatness. Number one. And number two, because we're so good at so many things, we don't know how to no sabemos cómo concretar. Like, we don't know, how do you say that in English? We don't know how to bring focus to that thing that you can make money with. Okay. Because let's be honest, at the end of the day, I heard this. Okay. Hold on. Total side note. Okay. See, there goes my ADD. I'm not even going to edit that part. Okay. We're just going to go with it. So I heard this thing the other day that I was like, oh, yes. And it's about money. And I'm going to bring it into what we're talking about. Okay. But here's the deal. So many times God puts certain desires in your heart. For example, some people, they really want, I don't know. See, I don't really want a Lamborghini. So I'm just going to say a Lamborghini because I know a lot of people, men especially, love Lamborghinis. But maybe for a woman, it's like you really want a specific purse or you want to live that kind of a life. This guy said, God puts those desires in your heart so that you have motivation to do the work that is going to require to have that Lamborghini. But in order for you to do the work that's going to allow you to have that Lamborghini, you must become the type of person that God needs you to become so that you can do the things that you need to do so that you can have those desires that you want to have. And when I heard this, I was like, oh my gosh, yes, that is so true, right? Why? Because your talent needs to be monetized. Now, I know some people are maybe you're going to send me a message saying that you don't agree with that. Great, that's your opinion. But in my personal opinion, I do feel that God gave you a beautiful voice so that you can monetize on that. Maybe it's going to be for you to be the actual singer, or maybe to teach other people how to sing, or for you to write songs or whatever. Here's the deal. Like, you have the talent that you have so that you can grow into that person that God wants you to grow into. And so, number one, it's like you allowing yourself to give yourself the permission, like own your own greatness, like unapologetic. And I'm not telling you to be egotistical. No, I'm saying like God gave you talent, own it, because he gave that to you. And here's the thing. You have to understand this. Every single human being on this earth, I feel God created. And he created us for a purpose. Now, it is our job to discover what that is. And when we discover it and when we tap into it, we will feel a sense of energy that is unexplainable. Okay. So because that is a source of energy that he has given you, it's not meant for you to keep it to yourself. It is meant to be shared. It is meant to be given. It is meant to for you to create a movement and impact out here on earth. And that needs to translate into financial compensation. Okay. That needs to be some way, somehow. You need to be compensated for that. And that's where a lot of people struggle, because the thing that you're so good at that you will do naturally a lot of the times we don't value it. We don't completely like give it the value that it really is. So I'll give you an example. One of my girlfriends, and I think I shared this in one of the other podcasts, like one of my girlfriends can create a manual, like an employee manual, like nobody's business. Like it comes so natural to her. Like it's effortless for her. So when people ask her to create it, she was undervaluing her work because she's like, oh yeah, well, because it's so easy for her, she can whip it up. I don't know. I'm going to exaggerate in an hour. So she was, I don't know, charging $100 for it. I'm like, girl, what are you doing? I don't remember how much she was charging. Okay. But it's like, it was something ridiculous. And she's like, well, girl, it takes me like 45 minutes. I'm like, that doesn't matter. It takes you 45 minutes. But these people, it will take them 45 days. It would take me 45 days for sure. Like I could get it, I would get it done, but it's not going to be effortless for me because my brain doesn't work that way. Okay. So this is what happens a lot of the times with our own talent and our own gifts is that number one, we don't allow ourselves the permission to own our own greatness. And number two, we don't value that which we have because it comes so natural to us. So a lot of the times we feel like we have to just give it away. We have to like do things for free. Okay. Let me tell you, that was me for a long time. Okay. Like my husband, it would drive him crazy because he would be like, Karla, did you get paid for that? I'm like, oh no, it's okay. Because it was so effortless for me. So if you're listening to this and if you've done this, let me tell you something. You're not the only one. I know I'm not the only one. Most people, when something is that effortless for them, we have a tendency to not really appreciate it and value it because it is so easy for us. So why am I sharing all this with you? Because here's what I know, okay? And here's what I believe in my heart, and that is this. If you're listening to this and if you're like, yes, I am a very talented person. I have a lot of skills. I have a lot of abilities. But I want to go A and B and X and Y and Z. I want to do them all. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Yes, you can, but what is that one thing that is going to be your focus? What is that one thing that's really going to have you feel alive that you can win? Because these other things, they could have you win a little bit, but what's that one thing that you know that is really like your passion, your calling in your heart, and that you can like make a living with? And when you can discover that, guess what? Later on, you'll be able, let's say that's X. Later on, you'll be able to do the Y and the C and the A and the B. But it's the X that's going to give you that focus. It's the X that's going to give you that money. It's going to be the X that's going to give you that ability to make that impact that God wants you to make on this earth. So the question is, how do you discover that? Right now, there's so many things that we have to go through because you got to identify, like number one, you have to identify what are the things that you really are good at? Like, what are the things that are your talents and make a list? Like, okay, these are the things that I'm really, really, really good at. Okay. And then also like, what's that one thing that I really love doing out of this list? What's that one? Let's just say you five, right? 5 things that you're really, 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 really good at. Okay. And stick it to 5. Okay. I can hear your little voice going, but I have more than 5. I know, but just pick your top 5. Okay. And from those top 5, what's that? Maybe bring it down to 3 and then bring it down to 1. Okay. And after that, then start to ask yourself, how can I monetize on this? And that is really like one of the things that I will tell you that I love doing with my clients. And that is figuring out how can you, number one, identify what is that thing that is really for you? And number 2, how do you turn that thing that is really for you into something that's going to bring you financial abundance? Because here's the other thing I want you to know, and that is that it is okay to want to have things. It's okay. If anything, I feel that, God doesn't put things in your heart unless he knows that you can have them. And God doesn't put desires in your heart unless you are capable of having them. For example, it's like my son is 7 years old, okay? So I'm not going to talk to him about what kind of car he wants to drive because he cannot drive right now. So there's no need to put that desire in his heart. Like there's no need to say like, Sebastian, what kind of car would you like to own? What kind of car do you want to buy? What kind of car do you want to drive? No, he's not ready for that. So I'm not even going to put that desire in his heart. What are the desires that he has right now? How to draw. He's into all these things with the games, right? So he loves all of that. Why? Because so those are desires that are in his heart are because those are the things that he is capable, his little body right now is capable of comprehending and having. He doesn't have a desire to, drive a car because he can't have that capacity yet, right? Now, when he comes to being 16, I'm sure he's going to be like, Mom, I want to have this type of car. Why? Why now? Why is his desire starting to brew into his heart? Because now he's coming into the age where he can drive. Before that, he won't even have that desire. Well, guess what? It is the same thing with us. God will not put a desire in your heart that you're not ready for. If you have a desire in your heart of anything, any kind, it's because your body is telling you that your soul is ready to receive it. Now, it might not be completely ready, but it's starting to wake up. It's starting to wake up to that desire. It's starting to wake up to that thing that you perhaps want to now have because your being is now ready to receive it. I hope you got that. And here's what I'm going to tell you, okay? I want that to sink in because sometimes we feel like, oh, I want this, but I don't know if I can have it. Well, I'm here to tell you that if you have that desire in your heart, it's because you can have it. Now, just because you can have it does not mean you will have it, okay? Because now here's the thing. Now the question is, are you willing to do what it takes to achieve it? Are you willing to become the person that you need to become to attract it? See, that's a whole nother conversation because here's what I want you to know. Let me see if I can say this correctly because my brain sometimes thinks in Spanish, okay? But it's like and I'm going to include myself because this is for everybody, including me. We currently have what we have because of the current person that we are. Okay, I'm going to say that again. We currently have what we have because we're currently the person that we are. So if we want to have more, we must become more. And I know a lot of us have heard that, but do you really understand that? Like, you have to understand that really, really in your heart, not comprehend it in your head, but really feel it. Like, okay, I have what I have because of who I am. I have what I have because of how I think. I have what I have because of my beliefs. I have what I have because of my stories. I have what I have because of my rules. I have what I have because of my laws. Okay, so what I have right now, is a reflection of everything that's inside, mentally, spiritually, consciously, and unconsciously. At the root, what I believe is what I have. I'm going to say that again. At the root, what I believe is what I have. So, in order for me to change my outside world, order for me to change, this is everybody, okay, including myself. It's like I'm putting myself in this conversation. It's like, in order for us to change what we have, we really have to change and transform how we think, the stories we tell ourselves, our philosophies, how we see ourselves, our identity, our rules, our laws, our beliefs. Like, we have to alter all of that in order for the external world to alter. If we don't alter what's inside, the outside world, even if we get success, it will be temporary. And I'm telling you because it's happened to me. I reached very high levels of success at a very young age, but I was not emotionally, spiritually, mentally prepared for all the success that came to me. So guess what happened? It was short-lived. So, for example, then you have somebody, I think everybody knows who Michael Jordan is. Then Michael Jordan, why did he have a long career of success? because before he became Michael Jordan, he did years of practice, years of like, didn't make the varsity team. And his coach said, "You're very talented, but you're not ready." I forgot what he said. But the point was, he told them, "Okay, you come every single day before practice and I'm going to coach you. And then next year you can be on the team." So guess what he did? He had to take a few steps back, reinvent himself. Because apparently, I think if I'm not mistaken, he was probably had an ego thing. Which by the way, later on, if you guys watch the Netflix documentary on him, he is a very competitive person and knows his greatness. But I'm sure at that age, he didn't have it tamed. So the coach wanted to make sure to check his ego at the door. Right. And so guess what happened? He had to do the time. And so that's what a lot of the times I listen, I'm guilty. Okay. That we want to see success yesterday. We want to have success now. And so that's why I don't know about you, but that's why I many times go from A to Z to X to Y to B. Like why I don't stay on one thing, because if I don't see success quickly, I'm like, okay, well, that's not it. And I go to another thing. And I'm like, well, that's not it. I go to another thing. I'm like, that's not it. I go to another thing. Right. I did that for years, until I was able to really identify, okay, well, you know what? That is not going to serve me, because anytime that I have had success, it's because I've been laser focused. Number one, I knew exactly where I was going. Okay. I remember in 2020, right? I thought my whole business was I remember I locked myself in the room and I thought my whole business was I was just going to lose everything. And I had a lot of panic. Now, here's the thing about me. I work really well under pressure. Okay. So because that was happening, I literally got into my office and I worked with my team every single day, without exaggeration. Every single day, I was with them every day for an hour, hour and a half. I was like, how are we doing? What are we doing? We had calls, I put all these things into place in order to make sure that I didn't lose everything. And so I knew exactly what I was doing, right? I wanted to support them. I had a specific goal, right? Make sure that my team kept going with the business. I knew where I was going. I knew the goal. I knew the objective. The how did not matter. The how came, ideas would just come to me very easily. They would just flow. Why? Because I knew where I was going. But guess what? Anytime that I have had no direction, or whenever I have lacked focus, it's because I don't have a specific plan as to where I'm going. I don't have a destination. I don't have a purpose. I don't have a goal. I'm working out of excitement. Oh, that looks good. Let me try that. But then if you ask me, why are you doing that? I'd be like, oh, I don't know. It just looks good. Right. Right. I don't do this often, but I do this. And so now it's okay, here's the deal. It doesn't matter if you've done it, if you're doing it, or if you have done it, or if you're doing it right now. Here's what I'm going to invite you. Number one is having that awareness. Okay, here I go again. I'm being a drifter. And a lot of the times, you guys, the reason why we're drifting, okay, there's a lot of reasons. Okay, there's a lot of reasons that we can dive into. But one of the main reasons why we're drifting is because we're really scared of the person that it's going to take to achieve that thing that we really want to go after. Okay. I really hope you got that. That's really why we're drifting. It's not that we don't think that we're capable. It's not that we don't know how to do it. It's that we're drifting because we're a little scared of the person that we know we must evolve into in order to achieve that which we want to achieve. And so it's easier to drift in doing the laundry, to drift and do the dishes, to drift and take that call, to drift, to avoid the things that we really need to do. Right? But I will tell you, when I've had a definite purpose, I've had a definite goal, my drifting would last 2 seconds. Okay. I would get drifted and I would go back on my lane. I would always say I would get off the tracks and get right back on the tracks. I would get off the tracks and get right back on the tracks. But when I haven't had a specific goal, a specific purpose, a specific outcome, I get off the tracks and it's I get off the tracks and I stay off the tracks. So this is an invitation, number one, for you to acknowledge if you're the type of person that you have a lot of talents, a lot of gifts, okay, which I can probably assume every single person listening to this you are that person, or you wouldn't even be listening to podcasts. You wouldn't even want to entertain the idea of bettering yourself. Okay. So most people that want to better themselves is because they know that they're capable of more. They know that they're capable of bettering themselves. Otherwise, they would be listening to, I don't know, something else. But if you're on here, it's because you are that person. So number one, acknowledge and give yourself permission. Like, yes, I have a lot of greatness and I have a lot of talents and I have a lot of gifts that God has given me, and I'm going to embrace them. Number one. Okay. Number two, I'm going to invite you to start thinking about what are those top 5 things? What are the top 5 talents, gifts that I know that I'm good at? And then maybe bring them down to 3, and then narrow it down to that one thing that you know that you just love doing and that you're good at. Okay. I love to sing, but I'm not a good singer. Now, could I take lessons and all the jazz? Yeah. But why have I not even had that desire? Because that's not my calling. So I want you to get this. Okay. When something is for you, you will have like this knock. I hope you can hear that. Like you will have this knock, 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 knock. Because something is telling your soul, I need you to wake up and unleash this part of you. I need you to wake up and unleash this person that God created you to be. I need you to wake up and create this movement that I know you can create. That's why you have that knock at your heart. And so allow yourself to feel it. Allow yourself to live in it. Now, the next question, number 3, is how can I turn this into a business? How can I turn this into an impact? How can I monetize on this? And listen, your little head might start going, oh, but doesn't it have to be about money? Well, no, but yes. Okay. Because we live in a world that you cannot go to the bank and say, I have a huge impact on this planet. Can you please let me borrow $100,000 so I can buy a home? The bank's going to go, I don't care how many people you impact. What I need is $100,000 for a down payment. Okay. So this is the world that we live in, right? We're no longer trading rice. Okay. You can't we're not trading rice. We're trading time, talent, services for what? For money. So it's okay. See, and that might be one of the things we need to shift in your mindset, is that it's okay to get paid. It's okay to ask for the money. It's okay to create offers. And here's the thing I'm going to share with you. I'm going to end with this. If you have a negative association with sales, I'm going to tell you right now, if you don't transform that, you're not going to get very far in life. Because the reality is everything in life revolves around sales. If you're a dentist, you're selling your service. If you do hair, you're selling your service. If you sell cars, you're selling a car. If you sell products, or you sell courses, so everything in life is sales. And you must see, I am very grateful for every person that has ever sold me anything that has made a difference in my life. For example, I invested a tremendous amount of money with Tony Robbins. I am so grateful that he sold, listen to me. I'm so grateful that he sold his products and services to me, that he sold his courses to me, that he sold his challenges and his mastery to me. Because of those programs, my life changed. I am a completely different woman because of all the classes that I took with him. I feel a certain way about myself. I feel a certain way about people because of all the classes that I took with him. I'm so grateful that he sold me on all those things that he offers. If he did not sell it, I would have not had it. And I would have not had the tools, the strategies, the techniques, the self-esteem, the tactics that I have that has allowed me to live the life that I now live. Now, I had to do the work, but the fact that he sold me on all these courses allowed me to learn how to transform myself. So I want you to start to shift the way you see sales. Now, if there's anything I can do to support you, reach out, okay? Because here's what I'm going to tell you. These things, yes, you could probably do them on your own, reading a book or whatever, but it's going to take a lot of time. And there are blind spots that we all have that it takes somebody else to see them in you. Like the other day, I had a call with somebody and the first 5 minutes, I'm like, oh yeah, I know exactly what's going on with this chick, right? Because she is very talented, very gifted, very smart, very capable. but she has some things that are stopping her from really showing up to her full capacity. There's a lot of things that she's got certain stories. I could see it, right? I'm not going to talk about them here, but I could see them. And as I was taking notes later on when I was talking to her, I'm like, okay, I said to her what I saw. She's like, oh, and see, here's the thing. Other people be like, wait, you paid money for someone? Like, I remember when I did this transformation course and I told my family what I had discovered about myself. My family was like, wait, how much money did you pay? I could have told you that. But here's what I want you to understand. People could tell you you have red hair, but it's not until you look in the mirror and go, OMG, I have red hair. That's when it becomes real. It's when you can identify it for yourself. People could tell you that you have red hair, but it's not until you own it. It's not until you own it. When you look in the mirror and you go, oh my gosh, I really do have gray hair. That's when it becomes real for you. So it's the same thing with the way that we are. People could tell you that you are XYZ and you could go one ear out the other. It's not until you think oh my gosh, I'm really like this. And then you can say, I don't want to be this way anymore. And boom, that's the beginning of a transformation. So if there's anything I can do to support you, I'm going to tell you, go to Karla E. Sandoval, or you can reach out to me in any of the platforms, Instagram. If you're here on YouTube, make sure you subscribe and like, okay? But there's so many ways that you can get a hold of me, Karla Boss Lady, in all the ways that you can get a hold of me. And let's have a conversation. Let's have a conversation. Sign up for a free 45-minute call where we can dive into this and we can see if we're a good fit. And you could join one of our masterminds. We have a really awesome challenge that really supports you in winning in all the areas of your life. So if there's anything I can do to support you, reach out. So like I say every week, I show up for you. I just ask for you to show up for me. Send this podcast to 2 or 3 people that you know that can benefit from hearing this. Maybe you know somebody that just like you is very talented and has a lot of ideas, okay? Send it to them and say, hey, listen, I heard this and I thought of you. Hopefully this helps. It's about paying that knowledge forward. And if there's anything that I could do to support you, let's get on a call, reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to jump on a call with you. And we can see if this is there's something that we can do to work together. We have self-paced programs, we have masterminds, and of course, working with me one-on-one. So either way, I hope you find this helpful and we will see you next week. Have a blessed day. And don't forget to wake up and unleash that person that I know that you have inside. Have a blessed day.